For thousands of people across Britain, someone is missing from their lives.
I don't know her, but she's my mum. She gave me life, and I need to know who that person is.
My son is out there somewhere. If I could just see him for once and tell him that I love him with all my heart.
He's my brother. I'm part of him, he's part of me. And if before I pass away I could find him, I'd go to heaven happy.
Finding someone when the trail's gone cold can feel like an impossible task. But that's where we step in.
She's been found.
I've got a big sister.
Offering a last chance to people desperate for help.
Hi, darling.
Hi, hon.
I've got a picture of my dad.
Oh, wow.
From DNA technology to painstaking detective work, we've travelled the world, uncovering family secrets and tracing people that no one else could find.
Are you Natan?
Yes, this is intense.
I've got the test results here, the DNA test.
Oh, my God.
How are you?
And finally answering questions that have haunted entire lives.
I'm glad you found us. I'm sorry it took so long.
This week, 2 stories of lives turned upside down by unexpected revelations. A man longing to find the brother his mum never told him about.
It must have broken her heart, absolutely broken her heart, to keep that secret.
And a woman searching for the father she fears may not want to be found.
He might not even know I exist and not want to know, but he's my dad, and it hurts not having him in my life.
Our first search is on behalf of a man who's desperate to find the brother who's been missing from his family for nearly 60 years.
I feel a bond with John, even though we've never met. He's out there somewhere. He was a family secret, and back then I think secrets remain secret. Are you having toast as well, or?
I am.
Okay.
53-year-old policeman Richard Beckley lives in Sutton with his wife Karen. He grew up with his parents Margaret and Arthur on a farm in Kent, the youngest of 3 siblings.
This is a picture of myself, my brother Andy and my sister Rachel, and me in the middle. I had a very happy childhood. Being the youngest, you know, I think I was spoiled rotten, especially by my mum. She spoiled me all the time. I was very close to my mum. She was an incredibly kind and open person. I did feel like she shared everything with me. She was a good mum. She was a very good mum.
But in 2002, 6 years after his mother passed away, everything Richard thought he knew about her was turned on its head.
Love you.
Out of the blue, we had a phone call from my mum's brother, my Uncle Frank. He said that he had some news about our mum, and he told us that my mum had 2 children prior to marrying my father.
Uncle Frank revealed that in 1943, Margaret had given birth to a daughter, Jenny, and then 6 years later, in 1949, to a son, John. Like many unmarried mothers at the time, she'd had to give both children up for adoption.
It was just staggering because I knew my mum. I thought I knew everything about her. So in the first instance, there was this feeling of almost betrayal that she kept that secret.
But Richard's uncle had another revelation.
My uncle told us Jenny had contacted my mum back in 1984, but unfortunately at that time, my mum made a decision, and that decision was that she wasn't going to meet Jenny. It was incredibly hard to find out that Jenny had been in touch, and we didn't know anything about it. knowing my mum. It must have broken her heart, absolutely broken her heart, to keep that secret. After hearing about Jenny and John, our first instinct was that we needed to find them.
Other than his name and date of birth, there was no information about John. But Richard and his siblings did have a lead for Jenny. Uncle Frank knew her surname from when she'd been in touch nearly 20 years earlier. And they found Jenny living near Biggleswade in Bedfordshire.
We went to where she lived, and I remember walking in and seeing her and thinking, you are the spitting image of my mum. She was so similar to my mum, it was uncanny. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
How are you?
Good to see you.
And you too. Meeting them for the first time was a little bit unnerving because it was just so unexpected. Because a long time had gone by since me and Margaret had been in touch, but it was just amazing. This would have been 1984.
84, okay.
Although Margaret hadn't felt able to meet Jenny, she did explain why in a letter.
One could not give birth to a child and feel nothing, and for many years I wondered and thought about her. I have given this much thought and do feel that the possibility of meeting could not be considered, as this would only be done by deceiving my husband and family, this I would not wish to do. Yours sincerely, Margaret. I was disappointed. She chose not to see me. She obviously didn't want to share it with her family. So we had no more contact.
It was tough to read what she'd said and to see that we've been given as a reason why she hadn't wanted to meet Jenny.
I always get the feeling that she was perhaps protecting herself.
Yes, more than protecting us, yeah. It was just such a terrible shame because we would have been delighted to discover back then that we had a sister and that we had a brother. Who's this? It's Roy. Hello. How are you? Very well. How are you? It's been wonderful having Jenny and her family in our lives. But we know nothing about John whatsoever.
Despite searching for 14 years, Richard's still no closer to finding their missing brother.
One of the things I've always done is have a little toast to him wherever he is in the world and just say, good luck. Good luck, and I hope that life's treated you well. And think about him. It's really important to find him. We just want to make the family complete. And for the past 14 years, that's kind of all I've ever wanted.
In almost all cases, when a baby's adopted, they're given a new identity. What we needed was John's new name. Taxi!
But because of the need to protect the identity of adopted children, the only way we could find this was by working with a specialist intermediary, legally allowed to access records.
We were told that John had been adopted by the Nicklin family in Manchester, but after 1968, we couldn't find any record of him.
Then we had a breakthrough.
John had an older sister, Doreen. We traced her, and she gave us John's new address.
In Brisbane, Australia. John emigrated when he was 19. He's widowed and works as a handyman.
Thanks. John was a family secret for nearly 50 years. I wonder how he'll feel when he finds out his mother kept his existence hidden all her life. And now that Rich has come looking for him, is John ready to become part of the family?
Nicky, welcome.
Nicky, nice to see you. It's a real pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure.
Yeah. So what was your reaction when you found out that Richard was trying to find you?
I thought, goodness, you know, to think I've got a brother, a half-brother, it's amazing. Very exciting as well, you know. I never thought I would find out there was other family members.
Do you have blood family anywhere?
No. I got married in '83 and the wife died in '93. Yeah, I sort of, after that, I thought I'm doomed not to have children and, you know, be on my own sort of thing, but...
You never had children, so...
No. The only family I've ever known is my adopted family, and that was it.
What was your adoption like? Was it happy?
Yeah, I'm so lucky that I had adopted parents who were so good and looked after me. I think I was under 10 years old when my mother told me that I was adopted. And she said my parents were killed in a car crash.
Really? Was it upsetting?
It was. But, you know, if that was what happened, well, it was sort of final. And I thought, well, get on with life, you know. And one of the reasons why I came to Australia was I can shut the door a bit on it, you know. And then all of a sudden something life-changing like this comes along and you find you've got blood family somewhere. I said, you know, it's a lot to take in. So how long has Richard been looking for me?
Well, since he found out about you, more than 10 years ago now, because Richard had absolutely no idea about your existence until your birth mother had passed on. She clearly wasn't able to tell him about you.
It's a shame, because I would really love to have met Richard before now, but I could see, you know, it could have upset the family, and it must have been very hard for her to hang on to it on her own, but I can understand that, you know.
So Richard is 14 years younger than you are, and he, of course, grew up with his father and your mother. And Richard also grew up with two other older siblings, a sister, Rachel.
There's a sister.
And a brother, Andy.
Oh, goodness.
As well.
Another family. Oh, amazing.
The other thing I need to tell you about is that 6 years prior to your being born, your mother, Margaret, had had a little girl who'd been given up for adoption as well. Jenny.
Jenny.
Yeah.
It only gets better, doesn't it? Gee, that's terrific. God, can't believe it. I thought I was the only one in the world. Yeah.
So, there is your brother,
that Richard. Oh, goodness. Amazing. He looks a kind person. I feel something. I feel a connection to something straight away. I don't know why, but unbelievable. Yeah, goodness. Family. It's like you always hear somebody else's sisters and brothers, and all of a sudden you've got your own sisters and brothers, you know. You sort of can't wait to see them, you know, and give them a great hug. Just to know there's family there. Incredible.
But before we tell Richard his brother's been found...
Our second search comes from County Durham, and a woman longing for the father she's never met.
This is my dad with my mum. It was taken in a photo booth the day that he left. I look at it every day. It's all I've got of him. I don't know who he is. I don't know where he is. But this gives me hope that he's out there somewhere.
Paediatric nurse Kelly Anderson-Leybourne lives in Seaham with her husband Steve and 2 children.
Hi, baby. Hi. I love being a mum. My kids, they're everything to me. I mean, yeah, they're naughty at times. But I've loved every minute that I've ever spent with them. And Steve has a really good relationship with the kids. It's so important seeing them having a father figure.
Right.
Like, I've always tried to encourage that because I didn't have that.
Kelly grew up as the eldest of 5 siblings. But when she was 15, the man she'd always thought of as her father made a revelation that would change her life.
He took me into the kitchen and put the kettle on and made me a coffee. I knew there was something going on because he never made me a coffee. And then he sat me down at the breakfast bar and told me that he wasn't my dad. Everything fell into place because I just always felt different to my brothers and sisters.
Kelly's mum Joanne explained that Kelly's real father was a man called Richard, who she'd met as a teenager.
It was the start of something. I wanted to find out about him.
Kelly's mum had met Richard in the summer of 1980, when they were both working at this hotel in Campbelltown on the west coast of Scotland.
Mum went to work there straight from school. She was 17, I think, and he was 19. He was just there as a summer job because he was going to university. She said she didn't particularly like him initially. Thought he was a bit arrogant, a bit posh, and then obviously he must have won her over.
But when the summer ended, so did Richard's job, and he returned to his family in London. The couple kept in touch by phone, but in the era before mobiles, it proved increasingly difficult.
My mum didn't have a house phone, so she had to go to the phone box. So she had to plan with him what time she would be ringing. It must have been so hard. And then she found out that she was pregnant.
Kelly Anderson Leybourne's parents met during a summer job in Scotland. Soon after her father Richard returned home to London, Kelly's mum discovered she was pregnant.
She rang my dad and told him that she was pregnant. She said he sounded happy on the phone when he found out.
But suddenly, Richard became hard to reach.
When my mum would ring, his mum would answer the phone. I don't know whether he wasn't getting the messages or whether he just didn't want to know. You know, he was only young and pretty sure having a baby was not part of his plans.
When Kelly was born in June 1981, Joanne phoned Richard with the news. But once again, his mother answered, and Joanne never heard from Richard again. "35 years on, Kelly wonders if her dad chose to walk away.
And it might be the case that he didn't want to know then and he doesn't want to know now. But if I hadn't searched for him, if I hadn't at least tried, I think I would just regret it forever.
Despite her fears that Richard might not want to be part of her life, Kelly still longs for her father.
I've never met him, and it's really weird to say, but I love him. And it hurts not having him in my life. I just want a dad.
Kelly's dad Richard was last heard of living in London more than 30 years ago. But there was no trace of him in the city anymore.
And as Kelly didn't know her dad's date of birth, this was going to be a challenging search.
For months, all our searches for Richard drew a blank.
But Kelly's mum did remember one key detail that gave us a fresh lead. Richard had been friendly with the son of the couple who ran the hotel in Campbelltown.
The friend's name was Simon, and we managed to track him down.
He'd lost touch with Richard years ago, but he was able to give us a vital new clue.
Simon and Richard had met when they were both students at an exclusive boarding school in Edinburgh. So we searched school records.
Thanks.
We couldn't find Richard, but we did spot someone with the same surname who was just a few years younger. We contacted him, and he told us that Richard was his half-brother and put us in touch.
After 8 months of dead ends, we'd finally found Kelly's dad.
Now in his 50s, Richard lives just 30 miles away from Kelly.
Hi.
We contacted him with the news that Kelly was searching, and he asked to meet me.
Ever since she was 15, Kelly has been desperate to know her father. But where has Richard been all these years? Did he choose not to know his daughter?
And 35 years later, will he want to be a dad to Kelly?
Thanks very much. Richard.
Hi, Nicky.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Come in.
You too. We've got lots to talk about.
Yes, yes.
Did you know you had a daughter?
No. No, I didn't. It's such a surprise. It's an incredible feeling, absolutely incredible.
What do you remember from back then?
Joanne, Kelly's mum, had said that she thought she might have been pregnant. So I think because I didn't hear anything from her, I thought that maybe it wasn't true.
Because Joanne said she phoned your mother to say the baby had been born. Did you get any of those messages?
No, I didn't. I think that bit's quite hard to realise that it was kept from me.
Maybe your mother was protecting you. Maybe she thought it was for the best.
Yeah, I think she must have done. I don't see it that way.
Now knowing that you have a daughter, do you feel that you should have tried harder to find out if she existed?
Yes, yes. You can't get back all those years. So that's something I'm going to have to live with. What I did, what I didn't do.
And from the very moment that Kelly found out about you, you have been this massive focus in her life.
I think it's a lot to live up to, isn't it? I think I'm sad for her, not for me. I really wish I'd known then.
Yeah, I understand. Would you like to see a photograph of her?
I would love to. Oh, good heavens. That's fantastic. I didn't have any expectation of what she would look like. I couldn't imagine her. It's funny how life changes sort of in a moment.
Is everything different now?
Yeah. Can't wait to meet her and try and make up for lost time. It's incredible.
Since the age of 15, paediatric nurse Kelly Anderson-Laybourne has dreamt of meeting her father. We've found Kelly's dad, and I'm on my way to give her the news.
Kelly Kelly's been longing to find her dad for 20 years. And, you know, there's a part of her that's afraid that he might not want to be found. But I'm really pleased to be able to tell her that he's thrilled and he can't wait to start making up for lost time. Hi, Kelly, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Thank you. You were 15 when you found out about your dad. 15 is such a sensitive age, isn't it? How did you deal with that?
Initially, I was just kind of, oh, good, that's good. And I was fine with that. And the following day, me and my mum did have a conversation where she kind of gave me his name and kind of what had happened. And that was enough at the time. And then it was as the years went on that it really started to kind of be something that I ached for and really desperately wanted. Like, it's hard.
So in your mind's eye, what is your dad like? Have you kind of built up a little bit of a picture?
A little bit. I try not to, but yeah, it's hard not to. When all I've got's like a photo, your mind starts racing as to what he might be like.
Well, we found him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, does he want to meet me? Okay. It really wasn't, I don't know, I was expecting the worst, that even if he found him, he might not want to know me.
He's really, really happy.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was aware that your mum might have said, you know, I think I might be pregnant, and then he didn't hear again. So he assumed that she wasn't.
Okay.
And that was that. And then he read it as she broke off contact, but actually, in retrospect now, he can see that his mum probably intercepted the calls, and that's what happened. That's why they lost contact.
And I kind of hoped that would be the case.
It was quite important to Richard that you know that he just didn't know about you.
Yeah.
So he wasn't deliberately out of your life.
I was never going to hold a grudge. Like, even if it had been a case of, at that time, he'd just gone, this is too much, I can't handle it. That was 35 years ago. Hopefully we'll have many years to make up for anyway.
Obviously, you've had a photo for years, but I've got an updated one.
Yeah.
Do you want to see that? Here he is.
Thank you. Oh my goodness.
I think you look like him.
Like, I always wondered if I did.
I think
kind
you
of
do.
Looking at the little photo and things, like, I thought that I did, that I look similar. Just makes me feel, I don't know, a little bit better and a little bit closer to him already, and we haven't even met.
Today, 3 weeks after we told Kelly that we found her father, she's going to meet him for the first time.
This is one of the most important things I've ever done, and I never thought that it would happen. I have been waiting a really long time for this. It's life-changing. I've made a photo album to show him what I've done with my life, like all the things that he has missed, but that he might like to see.
Kelly, oh, you look lovely.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, let's go. Today is the day you're going to meet your dad?
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to change you?
Yeah. It'll answer a lot of things. I think it'll make me a little bit, I don't know, a bit more content. Even though I thought I might never ever meet him, like everything I've done in my life, I have, like, in the back of my mind thought, would he be proud that I've done this or I've done that? So I want him to be proud of me. So
he will be.
Father and daughter are going to meet at a hotel in the heart of Newcastle, directly between where they both live.
Hey!
Oh, hi. It's good to see you again.
How are you? How are you?
Excited, more than anything else.
Let's go. Any worries?
Yes, a little bit of fear, something to live up to.
Do you feel sad that you've missed all that time, though? I mean, what?
I think hugely, yes.
Regret?
A huge amount of regret, because there are lots of memories that just we won't have had together. And I don't think I can ever completely accept missing all those moments at all, because they're so precious and unique. But today is about the whole future. It's a big moment.
Take a deep breath.
Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. It's quite strange, isn't it, to think after all this time of wanting to meet him that he's that close.
I know. It means so much. I'm getting nervous.
Right, I'm going to say goodbye to you here, because your dad's in there. Okay. Good luck.
Thanks.
Oh, lovely to see you.
You too, okay.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for looking. It does really mean a huge amount.
Thanks for saying yes. I didn't honestly think it would ever... Like, there was a big part of me just thought, this day will never happen.
There's nothing I can do that will last 35 years.
No.
I think the main thing is, I mean, we're here now. It's from now on that's really important.
Definitely, yeah. I just kind of made like a photo album.
Oh, lovely.
Of me when I was little and kind of things that have happened over the years and other kids as well.
It's very kind of you. Thank you.
That was me, newborn. Yeah, that was obviously my christening day. I'm not sure how old I will have been then.
It's just incredible to be able to catch up on so much. Well, that's nice, isn't it? So quickly, and yet there's so much more to discover and to find out. It was so beautiful then as well as now. She's incredible, aren't they? And then I felt very much like she was my daughter. I felt like her father. And from now on, that's what it's going to be like. To learn all this about you is just fantastic. What I really want to say is how proud I am of you, because I haven't said it in all these years.
I'm only 35. There'll be lots of more years to come. Like, there's lots of things we can still do. This definitely feels like the beginning of a relationship. I do see us being able to kind of go on from today and have that kind of relationship that I've been longing for. So I'm looking forward to doing all the things that we've not been able to do yet and make up for lost time and get to know each other better. I'm so happy to actually meet my dad. It just means everything.
Policeman Richard Beckley was in his 30s when he discovered that his mother had given 2 children, John and Jenny, up for adoption. Richard did manage to trace his sister Jenny, but John's still missing from the family.
And for more than 10 years, he's tried to track John down so he can tell him that he's got a whole family who are desperate to meet him. And now that John's been found, he finally can. Hey, Richard. How you doing? You all right?
I'm good. Good to see you.
And you.
Come on in.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Thanks for the tea.
My pleasure.
How long have you been looking for John?
For 14 years.
It's so hard when you have so little information.
Yeah, we had a date of birth, but that's all we had. So
I mean, well, why do you want to find him?
he's my brother. I mean, we met Jenny 14 years ago, and it's been a great relationship ever since. So I would just really love to meet him, just to be able to say, this is the family, these are the siblings, and you are part of that, because he came from the same place, you know.
Well, you can meet him, because we found him.
Okay. My big fear was that he's a bit older now, and that maybe it wouldn't be possible to meet him for whatever reason. But yeah, that's I didn't expect that. Where is he?
He's in Australia.
He's in Australia?
He's in Australia. He's in Brisbane.
So, how did he feel when he found out?
Completely blown away.
Yeah.
Because he'd been told that he'd been given up for adoption because his parents had died. And so he had
no idea.
No idea. So he was so moved that you'd been looking for him for so long and that you hadn't given up. I know, it's tough, that.
That is so hard for him to...
I know. He had a good childhood.
Okay.
His adoptive parents were lovely.
Yeah.
He just didn't think of looking because for what, you know?
As far as he was concerned, there was nothing to find. You know, it makes kind of searching kind of worth it because of what he'd been told, because of, you know... And
he would never have known.
Yeah. Isn't that incredibly unfair, you know, to have to be in that situation?
Can I give you a hug?
Yeah. When did he go to Australia? When did he...
He was 19.
Okay.
He was brought up in Manchester.
Okay.
And he's been back once in the 70s.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
He did marry in 1983.
Yeah.
But sadly his wife died.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And they didn't have any children. So this idea of a family is really exciting.
That's wonderful. It really is. And I know my brother, my sisters, their reaction is going to be just like mine.
Show you something.
Yeah.
That's your brother.
Wow. That's incredible. Oh. He looks really familiar. He looks like a member of the family. He looks like such a nice guy. That's just extraordinary to see that. I'm so happy. That's my brother. I can't wait to meet him.
Today, Richard and his siblings are going to meet John, the brother who's been missing from their family.
Thank you very much. See you later. I'm feeling nervous. It's almost unbelievable that today has come around and we're actually going to meet him after this many years. This is a big thing. I mean, a huge thing for me. I hope he'll like us. I hope we get on.
John has made the 10,000-mile journey from Brisbane to London to meet Richard and his siblings.
I'm very excited and nervous. This is not just one person, it's a whole family. They've been looking for so long. After so many years of not knowing they even existed, it's just amazing. I think this is my own flesh and blood.
Hello. Hello. How are you?
Hello.
Good to see you. You go first. Come on, let's get.
Richard and Jenny are joining their other siblings, Andy and Rachel, at a hotel close to Richard's home, where they'll be reunited with their brother.
How are you?
You're right. Hi, Rachel. How are you?
I'm sort of excited, but apprehensive. I'm just hoping that John isn't feeling very overwhelmed, because I know how I felt when I first met them.
For us 5 siblings to be together, it's going to be incredible. This is the moment that whatever secrets were kept in the past for whatever reasons, they become irrelevant. Now it's all about John, it's about us, and it's about a family being together for the first time.
Hello. How are you?
Oh, hello, mate. Long last day.
Richard, yeah.
So good to see you.
Right.
So good to see you.
Rachel. Jenny. How are you?
Lovely.
Oh,
Lovely to see you.
great.
Come on, sit down.
Been a big morning for all of us.
Yes.
Oh, it's amazing.
You know, 4 months ago I was mowing the lawn and going to work like everyone, and all of a sudden everything's happened. You know, it's just.
Well, you realise how much it means to us that you finally joined us after all this time.
After my wife had died in '93, and you become a bit independent because you've got no immediate family, and you become a bit isolated as well. And you know, and I realised all this was happening. I thought, yeah, a family at last. But you know, it just means so much.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you were always there in our thoughts over the years. You were always there, and you know, it's just great. It's come to this.
Yeah, and this is why, you know, I'm always eternally grateful for you. For you know, if you hadn't persevered, this wouldn't have happened. You know,
it's great because you think we're going to have the chance to get to know you. You know,
it's amazing how it's all just sort of
fallen into place.
We're complete as a family, which is a wonderful thing.
We're where we should be. I felt an incredible connection with John when we met. From the moment he walked in, it's like I've known him all my life.
This is me when I was a little baba.
Oh, wow, that's gorgeous.
I'm very happy. He didn't feel a stranger. Feel like his big sister. These are beautiful.
The first instincts I felt when I met them all was that I belong here. They felt like family, and they are family. They belong to me. They're my brothers and sisters now.
I've got some photographs of Mum.
I'd love to see them.
So that's probably the oldest one. I really wish Mum could have seen what happened today. To her, it would have been a way of perhaps healing all the choices that she had to make.
I can see the family resemblance there.
Against all the odds, John is there, and it feels like we're a complete family.
They don't realise it yet, but they're stuck with me now. Big time.
Next time on Long Lost Family. A daughter longing for the father who disappeared from her life.
He's my dad, but I've never met him. Why did he not come back?
And a woman searching for her twin sisters after more than 60 years apart.
My sisters were 6 months when they were took away. All of a sudden, you're in the house and they're not there anymore.